And here we are back again, and who knew? We're going to talk about flooring. And Lisbeth is a flooring expert. Is this amazing? So let's find, and she's got a magazine that she started a while back, and it's the only one in the nation.
The only one for consumers.
For consumers.
Yes.
So you work with realtors.
I do.
And do you work with consumers at all?
I work with consumers, I work with realtors, and I work with floor covering owners.
Okay.
And it's, I never thought I'd be in the floor covering industry.
But somebody has to do it.
Somebody has to do it. And I got a call from my younger sister. She was like 6 years younger than me, and I was like in my 20s. And she said, I think I'd like to go in the floor covering industry.
And you said, what?
What? But I did grow up in the construction business with my father, so I knew something about it.
Okay.
And so she told me how she was going to do this, and she said, what do you think? And I always wanted to be in business. I said, sounds great to me. She said, well, we need some money. So if you put some money together, you should join us. And that's how I started. And I really started
You started in the 20s, when you were in the 20s?
20s, late 20s.
Oh my gosh, so you must have a background in the floor covering industry that is par excellence.
Well, I have one for sure. I never thought that I would stay so long.
Okay.
I just thought.
I know, that's the way things happen.
Right? I just thought I'd stay there and we'd develop these businesses, we would sell them, whatever. And I got into it, and it was it wasn't the floor covering part for me in the beginning. It was the training. Mm-hmm. So I did training of staff, which is what I had done all the time, and worked with staff, developed programs, and that's how I got really involved. And then, of course, I got into the product itself. And floor covering through the years has just really
changed. Incredible.
Like you were telling me.
Remember that linoleum they used to roll out on the floor? Do they still make it? I don't even know.
Oh my gosh, they make something very similar. But I got involved in that, and a couple of years ago I was asked to be keynote speaker for GCAR, which is the Greater Capital Association of Realtors.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, that's the educational part.
All right.
Realtors have to take continuing education units. So I was a speaker for them, and then after I did that, Debbie Isom, who is the educational director, said, could you teach some classes for us? And I said yes, and we started talking, and she said, I don't know if anybody'd like floor covering. I said, wait a minute. Floor covering is amazing.
It makes the room, right?
You said it makes the room. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's elegant. And so we kind of laughed about it, and we put out this program for flooring. It was a day and a half. Do you know, we got 38 people. We couldn't put any more in the room. They loved it, absolutely loved it. We have some video testimonials. People were in tears. I mean,
well, when we talk floor covering, let's just, because a lot of people think carpets.
Yeah, that's the only.
And that's not it. I mean, we're talking of your laminates, you're talking about linoleum, whoever uses that anymore, but in carpeting. And there's so many ways you can cover. It can be just wall-to-wall carpeting, or it can be a rug. I mean, so when you do your classes, what is your approach to floor covering?
Well, one of the things that people need to know is that the really hot category is what we call luxury vinyl. And that's sort of like your mother's old that's your mother's old floor.
But not the old price.
But not the old price, and it doesn't look like that. And it was funny how that started. I mean, how talking about that started was a realtor said to me, she was on like the first floor looking down into a basement with a customer. And they looked down, and the customer said, what a beautiful floor. That's such a wonderful hardwood floor. Well, they didn't know, and they walked down and they looked and they said, well, this isn't wood, this is linoleum. And the customer didn't buy the house. And the realtor didn't know what to say, because in her mind, it was cheap. Well, that's one of the top categories out there these days, and it is so beautiful and elegant and looks like anything they want to make it. And so
I know, it's amazing, because people walk in my house and they go, oh, your wood
That's
floor
right.
is absolutely gorgeous. And well, it's not exactly wood. It's in the kitchen, so you need it more waterproof than wood.
Right.
But people think it's wood every time they walk in.
And you said something, waterproof is the buzzword these days. All of these hard surface floors are somehow waterproof. They've made them to be that way because now you can use them just about anywhere other than the swimming pool. And we have to tell, no, you have to tell people things like that.
Let me think about that. Go
You can
ahead.
tell them it's water resistant, but you
Yeah.
do have to say, but it can't be in the pool. And because we've had those issues. Yes, I do inspections of floors and
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah.
But that is a category that is right on the top. And carpet is still a major category. You know, it doesn't go away.
It works in some places, in some rooms.
It's
yeah.
beautiful. Listen, you get out of bed
There's
in the
nothing
morning,
like feeling that
I
carpet
know.
on your feet.
and it gets more beautiful and
Yeah.
softer
Yeah.
and more luxurious. I mean, technology has made it possible to produce things that
Yeah.
they could never do before.
Exactly.
Things that aren't wool feel like wool. Wool is still beautiful and one of the top categories. So it's become a real fashion trend. So, you know, if a realtor goes into a house with a customer and now they're looking at the floors, you have to figure out, what do we need to replace? How much will that cost? I mean, flooring is a major addition.
Since you're talking about realtors, suppose I'm going to sell my house, for instance, and so I hire a realtor, and they come to the house, and they go, well, you really need to take those cabinets out. And do they do things like that? Because it seems to me the homeowner would say, I think I'll just live here because
Yes.
it's too much work.
Funny you say, I taught a class yesterday, aging in place with realtors, and that was one of the issues. If you want to age in your home, can you afford to stay
Exactly.
after you make those renovations?
Exactly.
So going back to your question, so now we look at a house and we say to the customer, well, maybe we should just clean this carpet. Let's try to clean it first and see if we can clean it.
Yeah.
But in this room, you've got ripped vinyl.
That's
Maybe
gotta go, yeah.
These days, we just go right over it with something really elegant.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be glued down. It just goes over it.
Oh, okay.
So there are
So
very.
it might not be as difficult as you think it is.
It
yeah.
may not be as difficult.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that would be one thing. And now if the customer is deciding they want to buy a house, so now you're looking, now what will it take to replace this? Or do we have major problems under the floor covering? See, that's something that a floor covering inspector or even a realtor now that comes
Because
to
you
my
could have
class.
mold. And if you have mold, believe me,
Yes.
that's a hazardous, that's toxic.
Or you have something underneath boards that, aren't
Oh, okay.
good.
You mean structural.
Structural issues or concrete slab that's wet. And so these things, the realtor might not know exactly what it is, but
Yeah.
at least they'll question the issue. And this could save the customer a lot of money and a lot of aggravation.
So your realtor could be your best friend
You
when
know,
it
it's
comes
funny.
to this.
One thing about realtors, if you ask them, do you know an electrician? They'll always say, I got a guy. Realtors have guys for everything. I have a problem with my plumbing. Oh, I got a guy. Well, now they got a carpet guy, which is
Yeah.
so funny. They say, no, now we got a floor covering guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we figure out what we can do.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Oh, this is like so revealing to me because I take floors for granted.
Well, except us, we're always looking like this. We
Yeah.
walk like this,
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. But I mean, I take it for granted, that this is not, it's like, okay, I'll just pick that. But you bring a whole new approach to it, and I love what you do. Yeah.
Thank
that's
you.
good,
It's,
yeah.
it's, as I say, it's fashionable these days.
Yep.
And elegant, so.
Elegant. Hey.
Yeah.
And she's a business strategist besides, so who knows? What's next?
Yeah.
Who knows? We've been talking with Lisbeth Calandrino, and she is a floor covering expert, and we're so fortunate to have her on the show. She does have a magazine. I'm sure that you can check it out. It's called Fabulous Floors, Design, Decor, and More. And there's plenty in here, believe me. And if you're interested in floors, check it out. Thanks for being here, Liz.
Thank
It's
you
such
so
a
much.
pleasure to have you here.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, I'm delighted. We're going to take a quick break and talk about marimbas. Do you know what a marimba is?
No, I'm not sure.
No, we're going to find out in just next segment.